Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to my top planch training. So I was training top planch a lot when I was quite a bit younger, when I was sort of like 16 through to 20. And then it dropped away for a little while, but I picked it up this year. So I'm starting to gently reintroduce it, hopefully gonna go ahead and get the full skill, somewhere down the line. So for now I'm only working 3 exercises on it. I'm going high cleave or press to straddle planche for reps. I'm working full front support leans, leaning out into a front support position, and then pressing up into little tuck planches. And I've been working those for, well, pretty much since the start of the year. But I thought to make a video and to track the progress, and so you can see what I do. Our plan is I'm going to work through my training session, and I'm going to talk to you about what I'm thinking about, little adjustments I might make, how it's feeling. But with that said, I'll do my warm-up and then we'll jump straight in. Okay, I am all warmed up and I'm going to go for my first set. Now last time I was training, I was interested in trying to flatten off the lower part of my back. So that's this part, trying to get that nice and long. So that's going to be the main thing I'm thinking about going in, but I'm also just going to test it out, see how it's feeling. Okay, so I've just watched that set back. I think my third rep was my favorite rep out of the lot. It was the flattest and had like the sort of cleanest looking position. I know that that's when I also first started to think about pushing my shoulders forwards more inside of the training itself when I was doing the movement. What else did I feel in there? Wrists, feeling the weight of the move. So just going to let those warm up a little bit more, but I think that means I'm really leaning forward, which is good. And I think more forwards is what I need. Looks like my feet are going a little bit high, so in the next set I might try and keep them a little bit lower, but it felt powerful, felt really strong. So going to move on to the next set. Okay, going for my second set. I'm going to think about keeping my feet a bit lower in this one, perhaps drawing in my core a little bit more and pressing forward, pressing forward. Okay, again, super interesting. On watching back, the third rep is my favorite one, when it starts to look really nice. And watching it, I'm like, oh, go on, just hold that position, it looks good. Like, if I could hold that position, I'll be very, very pleased with it. What I'm gonna do on my next bit of filming is I'm gonna put the camera higher up so I can really see my back position. I'm just experimenting with some different camera angles, both for myself and for you guys, to see the skill from different directions. That felt different. I felt a lot stronger on that set. I felt like I was using my strength. I felt like I was moving into a space where I had control, like dominion over my body. Whereas in the previous set, it felt a bit more ballistic, a bit more powerful, like I was charging forwards into the position, but kind of coming out of it again quite quickly. Like it was like, and back down. The last set felt more like something which I had control over. My wrists felt happier going deeper in, so that was good. And I felt this connection through my body, so that one felt a lot stronger, So next set, I want to try and build on those concepts. I think lower feet helped, really exaggerating the degree to which I'm packing my stomach in before I go and amplifying my protraction in my shoulders. That felt really good. I'm gonna go for my third set. Okay, third set, final set for today. I've put the camera higher up, so hopefully we're gonna get a view of my body from the side on. My key thoughts going into the set: feet low, pack in my abdomen, and exaggerate the protraction. Okay, final thoughts on those 3 sets. I'm actually really pleased with those 3 sets, and I like how it developed. I liked how the ideas, the cues which came to me from the training, I implemented them and I saw an improvement in what I was doing. So that's really, really nice. That tells me that my feeling of what's happening in my body is lining up quite nicely with what's actually going on, okay? Now obviously I've made my assessments quite quickly. I might do a deep dive into looking at this later on. Already something which I'm thinking going into the rest of my session. I like that lower feet, that's working well for me. I think I just need more lean strength as well, because my hips are not quite coming in line with my hand, which means that the whole position is actually sort of almost bound to tip off the back again. So I think I need more strength in the lean. I need to acclimatize my wrists to that kind of pressure. That's just going to take time. And the packing in my abdomen really, really works for me. And I thought of a cue, which I heard Andre Strong saying, he's a very, very good top plancher, about pressing the shoulders. Now I do a lot of handstands where you have to elevate the shoulders, and I was watching myself prepping for my top planches, and I think that a bit more depression in my shoulders when I'm top planching, it might just help to move my body. So I think when I go into my planche leans, which I'm doing next, I'm going to carry over the cues which helped me in that, more drawing in of my abdomen, and sort of this concept of keeping my feet low and pressed, but I'm going to try and bring in that depression of the shoulders and see if that helps me. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the next exercise. Okay, planche leans. So like I was saying, this is primarily to build my leaning strength, my forward press strength, get my wrists used to that kind of action. But I also want to work on that depression idea and try and build that into the mechanics of my top planche movement a little bit more. I've slightly done myself over because the camera's there, that's got my stopwatch on it, and my own stopwatch has died today. So I'm going to have to count in my head. I want to try and do 20 seconds. And I'm looking for nice low hips. So let's jump in. Okay, not bad looking back at it. It's actually a lot better than it has been in previous weeks. I'm actually quite pleased with how low I'm getting my hips. I think they could press lower. I think I need to like over-exaggerate that at the moment, really get that engaged. So I want to see more of that in my next set. The depression looked like it worked actually, and I was still able to keep protraction in my back. I find that really difficult actually, getting the depression and protraction at the same time. So I think I want to go for a bit more of this idea of packing my rib cage in. That's really worked for me in the past. I also checked out my counting, and I did 16 seconds counting to 20 in my head. So I need to count a little bit slower towards the back end, I think. But there we go, that's good. And I will go on to my second set. Okay, second set, just two ideas I'm going to work on. Keeping the depression and the protraction, and more hip press. That's kind of three things in it. But yeah, okay. Working that shoulder position, more press in the hips. Okay, so we moved to a new part of the gym. It's getting a little bit busy. I'm going to go for my third set on the leans. I was quite pleased with the last set, so I think I'm just going to try and repeat it. I did, I think, 17 seconds that time in my head, so let's see if I can get to 20. Okay, I'm really quite pleased with all three of those. I think I really improved the position. Getting my hips down was really good, and that depression is working a lot, I think. By the end of it, I could see that my hips were coming so close to being in line with my wrist, and it felt really heavy in my hands, which suggests to me that the majority of the move is actually now happening in my hands. It's load bearing in there. And I think I should just keep going on those. I think I did 18 seconds in the end, so I still didn't quite get my 20, but it's difficult counting in the head. I kind of go into this like vortex where I hear the number 20 in my head, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure that wasn't 20 seconds. So then I'm like, oh, I don't know where I am. I just hold it for a little bit longer and come out. But yeah, really, really good. So I'm going to move on to my little tuck planches, tuck planche raise ups. Okay, I'm in a new spot again, but I'm going to go for my little tuck planche raise ups, and on these I'm making my real focus, getting my protraction, pulling my rib cage in, drawing in my abdomen, and again working on that depression, but actually holding the whole skill up this time. Okay, it's been super interesting exploring that idea of depressing the shoulders this session, because I could see in the last rep I did there was a little bit of a drop, and then I know that I pulled in the depression of my shoulders, and then I could see the position raise up in the video. So I think across the rest of these sets I want to really work on that, really depressing the shoulders and actually going a bit more for the lean. I think my core control is quite good, so that's what I want to really work on, depressing the shoulders, pushing for the lean. Okay, second set. So depression of the shoulders and leaning. Okay, again, yeah, I'm pleased with that. I'm pleased with that set today. I think working this depression idea is really good. I want to push that moving forwards, and the leaning hard into it and coupling those two actions, it's working really well today. And I can see my back is moving up to be much more leveled off. And the other sensation that I talked about earlier is I feel like I'm getting so much more into using my strength than just sort of being ballistic and bouncing into the position and coming back out of it again. It feels so much more like somewhere where I'm really learning to have control. Now it's very, very hard. It's very near the far end of what I'm capable of doing. But I feel like if I can build up those positions and build up the leans, that's going to have such a payoff into my straddle to pike to straddle planches. And somewhere down the line, I can introduce doing some handstand lowers. But I think that getting into this place of really working the strength is going to have an enormous payoff. Okay, last set, last bit of work on this for today. So just need to summon everything up. Starting to feel a little bit fatigued, but I want to show some good positions, get some real good quality work in here. Okay, final reflections on my training from today. I was actually really pleased with everything that I did. I kept saying it, didn't I? I was really pleased with that training session, particularly that last set of the little sort of tuck rise ups. I'm really happy to see the way that depression and the lean forwards is creating more of the shape that I want to see. And particularly in that exercise, which is to kind of develop more of a specific area of strength within the skill than the whole skill. That's really cool to see how that's working. And that thought that I had to implement that idea of the depression, the cue that I'd had from the other coach or the other trainer, that was a really interesting thing right in the middle of the training session. That can happen quite often in my training sessions where I'm going along and I just have an idea and I go like, right, let's investigate that for today. And today that was a really interesting sort of missing piece which was starting to come into play. So I really want to develop that moving forwards. I think going into my next session, I just want to build on everything I did today. The lower feet in the presses felt really good. I know that the strength in the leans and the strength in the depression is going to help the whole thing. And that was a key feature of today. It felt for the first time like I was really using strength to stay in the position. And it was curious actually, on my last hold in the tuck, I was like, why don't I just stay here as long as I can? And I really don't think the position actually failed in my body. I think I chose to come down. Now it felt extremely intense staying in that hold. And I'm sure, I mean, I've learned strength skills before. I'm sure that there'll be a time when it doesn't feel so intense to be in that hold. But the positives of like acclimatizing my wrists to being under that kind of pressure and just feeling what it's like for my weight to actually go through that position,
For now, just spending time there is going to be really good, but I know that sometime soon I'm going to be able to be actively expressive against it and have actual dominion in the position. Right now, it feels like something which is right far near the end of my strength range, so I'm sort of clinging on to it. But the more the more time I spend in those positions, the more I just allow my body to adapt, the more I'm going to be able to express myself and express the position, express force in the position, which is what strength is anyway. I like the way Ross actually says that strength is the body's capacity to express force, and all I'm doing is learning to express force in a position that I've not been in before. And so that makes sense, really, isn't it? You're going somewhere you haven't been before and you're learning how to express yourself. And I quite like that as an idea to finish the video on. If you enjoyed the training video, if you want to learn more from me or ask me any questions, or if you saw anything you think I can improve on, then please go ahead and leave a comment or shoot me a message. I'm an online coach, I'm an in-person coach. I'd love to help you on your journey if you'd like to do something like this. So you can like and subscribe to this channel. You can go and check out my website, it's coachjamie.co.uk. I also have an Instagram, which is @_coach.jamie_. But beyond that, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to seeing you again very soon.